On the other hand, Game Sense. Game Sense playing absolutely amazing, and all Skill Capped has to do is just play how they have been in the last 2 rounds, and they can pull it off. However, Game Sense needs to jump back to what they did those first rounds and play extremely aggressive.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe not too aggressive.
Let's hear for both teams. Come on, this is a huge match. All right, so immediately, Poops tossing out that counter spell onto Rodriguez, and it seems like the strategy that they're comfortable with now is trying to shut down Rodriguez as much as they can.
Yeah, well, like I said, Mage is the cornerstone of this team for the most part when it comes to damage and control. Wow, it's kind of an odd drain to put on Rodriguez at the very beginning there. But see, Skill Cap's just going to sit back, wait, and bait them into this. You know, this is how MLS is played. Control top bridge, put out the pressure. Just look at the damage they can throw at range without really even committing to the fight on the Skill Cap side.
Look at Dakroth spiking yet again. Drudenhouse sitting back, but look at the damage onto Pooks out of nowhere as he's blinking away. Mana shielding and the Advocate right there.
Yep. Toes calling the CC in, coming on himself. Pooks flipped the Advocate himself back up. Rodriguez pushing in real hard through his own ring. So aggressive.
An early block with that Howl of Terror. Pooks is going to sit through the entire duration since Toes was in a fear. Great job of being calm enough to not use a trinket. However, a Death Coil onto Toes. Toes down to half right now. So much damage coming out from the team of Game Sense. It seems like they're playing like they did in the first 2 rounds.
Yep, this match could absolutely go either way. Better procs on Rodriguez, though. He's getting more fingers across, more brain freezes, it looks like, than Pooks. He's doing a lot more damage than he was in the last match. And now they kind of have control of that top as Skill Cap just dropped down a little bit. Looks like Dakroth actually, no, he's still back up top. It's Rodriguez chasing down bottom, just trying to throw out snares. You know, COC, get that talented root in there so Rodriguez line up on him.
Rodriguez playing absolutely perfect in every manner. LOS that Hex right back there as Toes tried to stop a bunch of damage from him. But Rodriguez in the middle of the bridge, trinketing that right now, jumping down with a deep freeze onto Toes as he runs away. But look at that, so lucky that his target was in line of sight still. That was an excellent jump.
Impact
All right,
stun
so that impact stun, Toes using NS right there, which means he's down to only Spirit Link Totem to save him at this point.
This match can still go either way. MLS versus MLS on Blade's Edge. I mean, anyone could fall over in just 2 globals, essentially. So the health bar is not necessarily indicative of how this match is actually going. But looking at healer mana, Toes and Drudenhouse pretty evenly matched.
So Pook's Water Elemental just died there. Let's see if Rodriguez still has his, which he does, 100% life, of course. That is a full poly onto Drudenhouse. Followed by Hex onto Rodriguez, who has his trinket down. No way of getting out of this. Of course, Dakroth is going to be deep frozen, and Skill Capped bouncing back. Both teams are playing at their best right now.
Yep, and Pook's throwing down that's his ring, I'm pretty sure, to trap Drudenhouse in there.
Oh,
and he does
that's
manage to trap
a lot of damage. All right, now Pooks is in trouble right now. There we go. Now we're going to see him try to get away as he puts those barriers back up down to half because Toes was counterspelled. No heals coming out yet as you see Pooks trying to put the damage out. Rodriguez sneaking behind, coming up behind Toes. And look at that, trapping Toes yet again with a ring. However, Toes still able to use the pillar to his advantage. Rodriguez by himself. Very risky move. It almost paid off.
Yep, but they're all over the place on the Game Sense side of the board. Drudenhouse able to sit down and get a drink, though, which is extremely important, you know, going into the late game of this. Toes has plenty of mana, and without any sort of mana advantage, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Skill Cap to just like roll through this comp because Game Sense is still playing very, very well. You know, even though Rodriguez is taking a lot more damage than he would want to, he's playing aggressive and he's baiting a lot of
Great job by Rodriguez again. Timely spell steals. Soul Snuts' Demon Soul, which is a gigantic amount of mana, or damage coming out on those later dots. But look at this again. He is targeting the Water Elemental again. Oh, and we hear the call for the kill as Dakroth is taking a lot of damage. He was in that deep freeze. He trinketed out of it. Dakroth might be in trouble right here. Fear onto Drudenhouse. Oh, that counterspell just ended. Full poly right there as he gets out of it with the trip.
Yep, he does get Spirit Link, but it's not really maximum effectiveness yet. No control. Drudenhouse coiled off. He's got dots rolling on. This could be a pretty big shatter.
Switch on to Drudenhouse right now, who doesn't have his trinket up. Already used Spirit Link. He's going to get some huge heals while he's behind LOS.
Nice fake by Pooks. Not getting locked out on his Frost.
All right. So the Shamans are being very mana conservative when they can because Drudenhouse down to 30,000 mana and Toes down to 40,000. Little bit ahead for the team of Skill Cap. But there we go. Now the second pet dies from Pooks.
Yeah, Pooks just trying to get in there, shatter somebody. He switches over to Poly immediately. He's just being shut down completely. You know, Game Sense is obviously well aware that without Pooks, that team is not going to be able to convert any of that dot damage into a kill. So, you know, going on the Mage is pretty much the obvious choice here. They're slippery opponents, but they're both fighting down bottom face to face. You know, GameSense could just get a little bit more aggressive with this. You know, maybe try to catch him counterspell in a frost school would be big.
You can hear the frustration by both teams of every time they try to push in for a kill, there is a crowd control answer. As we see a poly onto Snuts right there, that is going to fade Rodriguez. Again, another spell stolen Demon Soul. Perfect. Every single time it gets up, he removes it. All right. Takrod taking a bunch of damage, though, as Poops is looking to try to cast on him, but he's stuck in a deep freeze. Rodriguez stopping all the offensive pressure yet again. Snuts taking yet another onslaught of damage there. He doesn't have his coil up right now, so it's going to be about 30 seconds before they can line up for another kill. Of course, he's got a minute on that Demon Soul. With a counterspell onto Drudenhouse and a Hex onto Rodriguez, Snuts drops down because he is dotted, so he knows that ring isn't going to hurt him. However, the ring hitting Drudenhouse, who's really low, 25,000 hit points. Nature's Swiftness stuck in the ring. Oh, but barely gets out because of the dots. That could have ended it right there with Nature's Swiftness up.
Pooks is peeled, but this could still end it. If Pooks gets out of this, he's going to throw a poly out probably onto, Rodriguez peels him off. If he could just get into position on Drudenhouse, if anybody can get him into position.
All right, Skullcap, no, they can't overcommit right there as he drops Tide and heals himself. Take a look at Pooks, who is going to be trying to cast as many polys as he can onto Rodriguez, and he was shutting the damage down last game. He needs to do that again.
Yep, and Pooks is just going to line up on him now. I mean, Mage is sitting right next to him. May as well just blanket silence him. That's how a lot of Mage's duels used to start, actually. Just put out damage, and that's a good way to get ahead in a Mage versus Mage fight. You know, it's going to come down to a little bit of the numbers game. Who's going to land big crits when it comes down to having Fingers of Frost on Snuts. Looking low, Rodriguez also looking low, pops his Evocate, and gets a good bit of it off before he gets impacted. Snuts, though, not looking too hot here. Gets that Banish off, but he's sitting on a lot of damage.
Full poly onto Drudenhouse right now as he sits through it. Dakaroth, though, in a deep freeze down to 20,000 hit points, getting quite low as we see a Hex onto Rodriguez, also able to get healed back up to 50% life at this point. Rodriguez still taking so much damage and being controlled. It must be so frustrating. After the first two games where he had free reign, now Pooks is shutting him down.
Yep, and Drudenhouse keeping that water shield up, obviously trying to get some mana back sub 10k. Toes just now tipping below 10k mana, water shield up himself. So excellent pressure by Skullcap. Probably the wise move to hang back for a second and recoup, because pushing into an MLS is pretty much the easiest way to get killed by them. All right.
Rodriguez again trying to stay alive. Great use of LOS right there, hugging the edge of the ramp. Of course, a deep freeze onto Drudenhouse right there. Pooks taking a lot of damage in that impact stun, having to block. That was a smart move. Toes is almost out of mana, and you compare Drudenhouse's mana, who got that Tide off earlier behind the pillar,
and
Toes.
Drink off too.
All right, oh, look at this, but there's lots of damage coming out yet again. Rodriguez having to block because he's standing in the middle of the bottom. Look at that follow-up ring right there. They know that he's going to be, is he trinkets? Wow, that was really risky, but it paid off for Rodriguez as he gets out of that ring and running as fast as he can. Oh, but he gets impact stun down bottom.
Perfect. Wow.
And we have the deep freeze after.
Spirit Link Totem barely in range of him. And there's the polymorph on Drudenhouse. He's got Trinket. There's the Trinket on Fear.
That was a little bit too early on the Fear because Drudenhouse was going to poly the Trinket and ended up hitting both the Fear also. As we see a Hex onto Rodriguez. Great job of controlling him yet again by Skullcap. When it comes down to this, it's 2-2, late game. Healers aren't doing great on mana. The crowd control's everywhere. The water elemental pets are back up and they're not being killed, but Pooks taking a lot of damage. Counterspell onto Toes as Pooks has to evocate here. He knows that, wow, and the deep freeze right out of the evocate.
Yep, I mean, he just wants to shut down Rodriguez's damage right now. He's got him behind on cooldowns, and if they can just keep putting pressure on him, if Rodriguez stays in line of sight, he is a great target for all of these guys. We're right about at the 9-minute mark here, VHL. An intense match could still go either way here. It is match point here, map 5 on Blade's Edge.
That ring was so intelligent that Rodriguez just dropped. It means they couldn't get on the edge of the bridge to get any line of sight on him because he jumped down. And we have a spell lock. Rodriguez again taking a lot of damage. Do believe he has his second block up. We'll have to see if he's going to be able to block because we have a Hex onto Dakaroth, and Dakaroth isn't going to be able to control the team. Drudenhouse using Spirit Walker's Grace to be able to heal. However, look where he is, caught in that ring with no trinket up, followed by a coil, 2-second coil. As he's going half-life, it looks like they're going to be going on to Drudenhouse with that impact stun. He's in the center of that ring.
Yeah, Pooks just
Drops the
staying
grounding,
committed.
doing everything he can, but here comes the deep freeze onto him.
And the
Down to
UA
24,000
silence!
hit points.
Oh, down to 10K, spiked back up to 20. A trinket by
Impact
Pooks
stun.
to get back into the fight. A COC hits all 3 members. That gives him a shatter opportunity on all 3, but he's forced to block defensively.
Wow, so much control onto Toes right now because Pooks is down to half. However, Druden has low on mana, a Death Coil, and a Deep Freeze. Wow, they really don't want Toes to cast at all.
Yeah.
And followed by, wow, Blanket, Spell Lock.
Yeah,
Pooks has Hypothermia right now. Not going to be able to block currently as it's going to fall off very shortly. A Fear onto Dakaroth. So much crowd control everywhere. Snut's able to finally get a full duration Demon Soul off and get all those dots up that he needs to. Pooks, though, feared away.
This match, numbers-wise, VHL, looking at some of these stats, could not be more even. The damage is almost completely even. The time CC, also almost completely even. The duration of the CC is so ridiculously close. Everything down to dispels, healing done, every single thing. These teams are so evenly matched. It's just going to come down to, who lands the bigger crit first, basically.
All right. Snut's down to half, as you can see him standing right there in the center of everything. Of course, Pooks trying to get the proper LOS off the bridge, realizing he's going to help his team, so he jumps down. Dakaroth with Demon Soul back up. These dots are going to tick for a lot this time. Of course, Drudenhouse is deep frozen, followed by a Howl. Drops that Tremor, I do believe, to get out of that Howl. Yes, he did, which means he doesn't have much up at all.
His Spirit Link just
oh,
came
but
back
Spirit
up,
Link just came back up. This is a good thing for Game Sense right now because they're not going to be able to score a kill unless they can land a silence followed by a massive amount of damage.
Yep, which is possible, but Pook's not really in a position to do that. Rodriguez has DRs. I don't think he can be control. Well, Pook's taking a ton of
in the
damage.
center.
Getting out, Snuts taking all the
Oh,
damage.
but they're going to switch it back up onto Snuts because he's such a good target, standing down in the center as we see, wow, a Soul Burn Hellstone to pick himself back up above Half-Life. And it seems like the momentum has switched in the opposite direction. Game Sense really showing that they can pull it through in the late game.
Oh yeah, we definitely saw that in some of their earlier matches here. And they've just been able to fight back. Drudenhouse with precious little mana, Toes nearly in comparison. And he's sitting up top on bridge. He's got tied up. He's about to get an opportunity to drink.
Oh, impact stun on top of a Fear. Rodriguez at half-life right now. Drudenhouse is counterspelled right now. That's why they forced a block out of Rodriguez. So it looks like Skill Capped coming back into the game right now.
This could not be a better position for Skill Capped based on how these matches have been going. Drudenhouse getting an opportunity to drink. If they can deny that, they deny it.
Look at this. He frees by himself in the center. Lots of damage coming. However, Drudenhouse is playing an excellent game of line of sight with that bottom pillar, knowing that they're going to drop down, but that counter spell was landed at the exact right time. Any amount of crowd control after this, and look at that, deep freeze every time they go to line up for a kill.
Yep, Drudenhouse catches a Dispel UA Silence. It's going to put him back a little bit on health, and he's going to have to line of sight so he does not get fully dotted.
All right, so we just had a pet resummoned by Dakaroth, who's taking a lot of damage. That is a full hex that gets dispelled off of Rodriguez. And Pooks is not finding his target whatsoever. There he goes. He's going to resummon his pet right now, tossing out, getting ready to toss out the freeze, of course, to get those fingers up as Pooks tries to get in range as he gets deep frozen and blinks away.
Oh, Drudenhouse caught into a coil and kind of watching.
Oh, the entire team of Skill Cap is